Okay, so this is a typical part 3 in IELTS listening. So you'd have to answer 21 to 30 in this part. But firstly, you have to go through 21 to 26, which of course you can see these are OBJ questions, that's multiple choice questions. All right, so there's a heading that would help us have an idea of what this recording is going to be about. So when they give you time to look at questions 21 to 26, you have to quickly read all these questions and possibly the options as well, underlining keywords and all. So start by reading your heading, talk on jobs in fashion design. Okay, now 21, what problem did Chantal have at the start of the talk? So this question is all about Chantal, the problem she had at the beginning of the talk. 22. What were Hugo and Chantal surprised to hear about the job market? 23. Hugo and Chantal agree, so both of them have to agree, that the speaker's message was. What do Hugo and Chantal criticize about their school career advice? When discussing their future, Hugo and Chantal disagree on how does Hugo feel about being an unpaid assistant. So you have to do that quickly. When you read 21, 26 quickly, you can come back and read the options. You might not be able to finish before the 30 seconds are over, but at least you can try. What problem did Chantal have at the start of the talk? Her view of the speaker was blocked. Her view of the speaker was blocked, so she couldn't see the speaker. She was unable to find an empty seat. The students next to her were talking. What were Hugo and Chantal surprised to hear about the job market? It has become more competitive than it used to be. There is more variety in it than they had realized. Some areas of it are more exciting than others. Okay? Number 23, Hugo and Chantal agree that the speaker's message was unfair to them at times, hard for them to follow, critical of the industry. What do Hugo and Chantal criticize about their school careers advice? When they received the advice, when? How much advice was given? How much advice? C. Who gave the advice? 25. When discussing their future, Hugo and Chantal disagree on which is the best career in fashion. When to choose a career in fashion. Why they would like a career in fashion. How does Hugo feel about being an unpaid assistant? He is realistic about practice. He feels the practice is dishonest. He thinks others want to change the practice. Okay, so you quickly go over your questions and your options before the recording starts. So let us go to the recording.
Three. Two students called Hugo and Chantal discussing a talk they have just attended at the start of their course in fashion design. You have some time to look at questions 21 to 26. 3. Two students called Hugo and Chantal discussing a talk they have just attended at the start of their course in fashion design. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 26.
Okay, so this is that time I told you about that you'd be given to look at questions 21 to 26. So this is when you should quickly read through the questions, read your heading, read the options, and just be ready to start picking your answers. Because I'll be pausing it to teach you, but when you practice on your own, you shouldn't pause. Okay, you have to practice being quick. All right? Okay. It should start soon. We're listening for the problem that Chantal had at the start of the talk. That's number 1, or rather 21.
Carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
What did you think of the talk then?
Hi, Hugo. I thought it was good once I'd moved seats.
Oh, were the people beside you chatting or something?
It wasn't that. I went early so that I'd get a seat and not have to stand. But then this guy sat right in front of me and he was so tall.
It's hard to see through people's heads, isn't it?
Impossible.
So she said the talk was good, at least as soon as she changed seats. He now asked her why did she need to change seats? Were the people around her talking? So he was asking about C. But remember, this question is about Chantal. You have to wait until she answers to be able to be sure. Were the people around you talking? She said no, it wasn't that. So C rather is not the answer. She now said she came very early so that she can sit at a place where she would see, but someone who is really tall came and sat in front of her. He now said jokingly, "It's hard to see through people's heads, isn't it?" And she said, "Yeah, impossible." So basically, someone blocked her view, so she couldn't see. The answer is also not that she couldn't find a seat, because she said she came early and she got a seat so that she can see well. So the answer is not B. The answer is A. Her view of the speaker was blocked because she said someone taller than her came and sat in front of her, so she had to change seats. So 21 is A. 22. What were Hugo and Chantel surprised to hear about the job market? So you have to wait for these keywords. Both of them have to both be surprised, and they have to show some sign of surprise about something. That's how you'd be able to pick your answer.
Anyway, to answer your question, I thought it was really interesting, especially what the speaker said about the job market.
Me too. I mean, we know we're going into a really competitive field, so it's obvious that we may struggle to get work.
So she says she found something really interesting, and he said him too. He now said, I know we're going into the job market and it's very competitive, so we might struggle to get a job. So he knows that, they know A, it has become more competitive. They know that. So the answer is not A, because they can't be surprised about something they already know. Something that will surprise them would have to be something they did not know, something new. So that leaves us with B and C. So you keep listening.
And we know we can't all have that dream job.
Yeah, but it looks like there's a whole range of areas of work that we hadn't even thought of, like fashion journalism, for instance.
Yeah.
So he now said it looks like there's a whole range of job options that we had never really thought of. Something like fashion journaling, for instance. She now said, yeah, that's B. There are more varieties in it than they had realized. So there are more areas that they hadn't even thought of before. That was Hugo speaking. So even before you pick B, you have to wait to hear Chantal's reaction, whether she'll say she knew about it or whether she'll agree. And she agreed. She was like, yeah.
So many career options.
Overall, she had quite a strong message, didn't she?
She did.
So the answer is B.
She kept saying things like, I know you all think this, but that's how it really is.
Perhaps she thinks students are a bit narrow-minded about the industry.
It was a bit harsh, though. We know it's a tough industry.
Yeah, and we're only first.
So she said that she kept on saying, I know you think this, but it's not that. So she's like, we know that, right? And she thinks that she was a bit harsh. And Hugo said yes. So they did not say she was hard for them to follow her. She also did not, they also did not say she criticized the industry, but she did not think they knew anything about the industry. And they think she was just too harsh. So A is the best answer. She was unfair to them at times, being so harsh and treating them like they know nothing.
We've got a lot to learn.
Exactly.
And he said they're just starting. They still have a lot to learn. So she didn't need to be that harsh. So the answer to 23 is A. 24. What do Hugo and Chantel criticize about their school careers advice?
I think our secondary school education should have been more career focused.
Well, we had numerous talks on careers, which was good, but none of them were very inspiring. They could have asked more people like today's speaker to talk to us.
I agree.
So they had a lot of talks, which was good. So B is not the answer because they're okay with the number of talks they had. But he said that they could have gotten better people to speak to them because the talks were not inspiring. They could have gotten people like the speaker they had today to talk to them. And Chantal, says she agrees. So the problem is the person who gave the talks, who gave the advice. That's what they criticized.
Of different careers, just when we needed to be, but not by the experts who really know.
So she said they were told about a lot of careers just when they needed to be told of it. So when they received the advice was okay because she said they told it to them when that's exactly when they needed it, but they did not use experts. So she's reiterating it again. They did not use experts that actually know about the careers.
So, did today's talk influence you?
So C is the answer. 25. When discussing their future, Hugo and Chantal disagree on, so both of them have different views on something.
What career you'd like to take up in the future?
Well, I promised myself that I'd go through this course and keep an open mind till the end.
I think it's better to pick an area of the industry now and then aim to get better and better at it.
Well, I think we'll.
So Hugo said he thinks it's better to pick a career in the industry now and just get better and better at it. While Chantal now started replying and said, so he thinks it's better to choose now. So she said, well, she's about to give her own opinion.
To differ on that issue.
One thing's for certain, though. From what she said, we'll be unpaid.
He now said, well, I beg to differ on that issue. Let me see if I can rewind it just a little bit.
That issue.
One thing's for certain, though. One thing's for certain, though. And your thoughts on what career you'd like to take up in the future?
Well, I promised myself that I'd go through this course and keep an open mind till the end.
But I think it's better to pick an area of the industry now and then aim to get better and better at it.
Well, I think we'll just have to differ on that issue.
One thing's.
So I think we'll just have to differ on that issue. That means she doesn't agree. That means she disagrees. So she disagrees about when to pick, whether now is the best time to pick. So when to choose a career in fashion. That's what they disagree about. The next question, how does Hugo feel about being an unpaid assistant?
From what she said, we'll be unpaid assistants in the industry for quite a long time. I'm prepared for that. Aren't you?
Actually, I'm not going to accept that view.
Really?
So he said that the speaker said they will be unpaid assistants in the industry for a while. And he said he accepts that, he's ready to do that. But from what she was saying before I paused, she seemed to disagree. But it doesn't matter because this question is about Hugo. How does Hugo feel about being an unpaid assistant? And what does he feel? He said he's okay with that, he's ready for that. He is realistic about the practice. He feels the practice is dishonest. He thinks others want to change the practice. Let's just listen a bit more to see if he said any other thing. But the answer is already looking like it's A.
But she knows it's the case, and everyone else says the same.
That doesn't mean it has to be true for me.
Okay, well, I hope you're right.
So she disagreed that she can't be unpaid. He now said, well, the speaker knows that's the case and that's what it is. But she's like, well, it doesn't mean it has to be the same for her. And he's like, okay. So he's realistic about the practice, okay? He has been told that he would be unpaid for a while and he's accepted that he's cool with that. So the answer is A. So that's how you attempt objective questions, okay? Sometimes you might use the elimination method to narrow down your answer. Sometimes you might just be able to listen and pick the correct answer. So just use every method, see what works for you, and sometimes you might even need to use a combination of different methods. The point is always find a way to understand what you're listening to and to get your answers. All right.